For decades, the command line on Windows was kind of an afterthought, right? Almost a relic. But then, a quiet revolution started, all guided by a new philosophy that would turn that dusty old prompt into one of the most powerful automation tools on the entire planet. So today, we're diving into the story of PowerShell and how it completely changed the game.
And wow, this slide, it really says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's the past, the simple, monochrome, and let's be honest, pretty limited command prompt. But on the right, that's the future, the dynamic, intelligent, and just infinitely more powerful world of PowerShell. And this isn't just a fresh coat of paint, it's a fundamental leap in what's possible, and we're about to unpack it all. Okay, so to really get why PowerShell was such a game changer, we have to rewind and look at what life was like for Windows admins before it even existed. And to put it nicely, it was a bit of a mess.
See, administrators had to juggle this whole collection of tools that just didn't talk to each other. You had the basic cmd.exe for simple batch files, then the often clunky VBS script for anything more complicated. And then you had totally separate utilities like netshell for networking or WMIC for system management. The biggest problem? None of these things could easily work together. It was this fragmented system that made any serious complex automation a total nightmare.
And this quote from PowerShell's creator, Jeffrey Snover, just hits the nail on the head. He saw that traditional shells, which came from the Unix world, were built to do one thing: handle streams of plain text. But Windows was different. It's built on APIs that return rich, structured data, or objects. Trying to manage an object-based system with text-based tools wasn't just hard. It was, as he put it, like trying to do surgery with a hammer.
So how in the world do you fix a problem that deep? Well, you don't just build another tool. You start with a whole new philosophy. And this is where the real story of PowerShell kicks off, with a document called the Monad Manifesto.
So back in 2002, Jeffrey Snover publishes this manifesto. His project, which was codenamed Monad, wasn't just a plan for a better command prompt. No way. It was this totally radical idea to rethink what a command line could even be on an OS like Windows. The whole idea was to stop fighting against the system and instead build a shell from the ground up that actually embraced its core architecture. Okay, so here's the real heart of it. When you ask a traditional shell for something like a list of files, it just spits back a big wall of text. Now, if you want something simple, like just the file size, you have to write this complex, fragile code to try and parse that text. And if the text format changes even a tiny bit in the next update, poof, your script breaks. Monad's entire goal was to get rid of that mess for good. And the solution was this single, brilliant, absolutely revolutionary idea that would become PowerShell's superpower, the object pipeline.
This slide shows you the pure genius of the new approach. Look at the traditional pipeline up top. It's just a mess, right? Each command takes data, shreds it into plain text, and then the next command has to painstakingly try to glue it all back together. But then, look at the PowerShell pipeline. It's just clean. Rich, structured objects flow directly from one command to the next. Nothing is lost. All the data, the name, the size, the creation date, it's all perfectly intact. And the building blocks for this whole new system? They were called Cmdlets, like commandlets. And the design was just pure genius in its simplicity. They all follow this strict verb-noun naming pattern that makes them so easy to figure out. You don't have to guess how to find a list of services. It's just get service. Need to stop one? Stop service. This simple, predictable grammar made the shell so much more approachable for everybody, not just the expert scripters.
All right, let's walk through a real-world example so you can see what I mean. First, get process runs. Now here's the magic. It doesn't spit out text. It gives you back a collection of actual rich process objects. Then, we pipe those live objects directly over to sort object, which can instantly see the CPU property on each object and sort them. No fragile text parsing needed at all. And finally, we pipe the perfectly sorted objects over to select object to just grab the top 5. It's clean, it's logical, and it's unbelievably powerful.
So, Monad eventually becomes Windows PowerShell, and its launch is a huge success. But oh man, its journey was just getting started. What began as a tool just for Windows was about to go global. This timeline really lays out the incredible journey. After its release in 2006, it became a core part of Windows pretty quickly. But then, 2016, this is the moment everything changed. Microsoft did something many people thought would never happen. They made PowerShell open source and cross-platform, releasing it for Linux and macOS. In an instant, it went from being just a Windows tool to a universal automation language for everyone.
And as the platform itself grew, its power just skyrocketed. I mean, just think about this for a second. Version 1.0 launched with just about 129 Cmdlets. Fast forward to today, and that number has exploded to over 1,600. That's not just growth, people. That's an explosion. And it's a testament to the massive investment and the amazing community that have pushed PowerShell's reach into every corner of IT. So, that brings us to today. Why is this tool, born from a manifesto in 2002, more relevant than ever before? Well, it's because it has become the absolute backbone of modern IT automation.
I mean, just take a look at where PowerShell is flexing its muscles today. It's the engine behind desired state configuration, which lets you basically just define how a server should be, and PowerShell makes it happen. It's the #1 way to manage huge cloud platforms like Azure and AWS. It's a critical piece in modern DevOps pipelines, and for any major Microsoft product like Exchange or SQL Server, PowerShell isn't just an option, it's the definitive way to manage it.
One of the most brilliant things they did to get people to use it was this. They met people where they were. If you came from Linux, you could type ls. If you were used to the old command prompt, you could type dir. But here's the trick. They weren't the old commands. They were just shortcuts, aliases, for these super powerful new object-aware commandlets like get-child item. It created this really gentle learning curve that welcomed everyone in, while hiding all this incredible power right under the surface. And look, this is so much bigger than just a Microsoft story now. The entire tech industry has jumped on board. More than 20 major enterprise vendors, everyone from the virtualization giant VMware to the storage leader NetApp, they all provide official PowerShell modules. This has turned it from just a useful tool into a truly universal and absolutely essential skill for any modern IT pro. This quote, from all the way back in 2009, it was just so ahead of its time. It was prophetic. They could see the future. That slow, manual world of clicking through menus was dying, and the speed and scale of automation was taking over. PowerShell wasn't just part of that shift, it was leading the charge. And today, in a world run by the cloud and DevOps, wow, that statement is more true than they could have possibly imagined. So let's end on this thought, which really brings us full circle, right back to that original vision of the Monad Manifesto. PowerShell proved that when you build a tool that understands the structure of data, not just what it looks like as text, you unlock this whole new universe of what's possible with automation. It's a revolution that started with a manifesto and is still shaping our world today.